Good morning. Thank you for joining us today for this latest update. But more importantly, I want to thank you for what you're doing back home to keep yourself safe and to keep your fellow Mississippians safe. I have been so pleased to see the actions being taken by so many of my fellow Mississippians who are practicing social distancing, who are deciding to be safe, and who are also stepping up and helping their fellow Mississippians in need. We are all in this together, and we've got to work together to make sure that we minimize and mitigate the damage from COVID-19. Over the last 10 years, Mississippi has made tremendous strides in our public educational system. I remember back in October of 2019 when something happened that most people didn't think was possible. And in that article in a national newspaper, the words Mississippi, public education, and number one in the nation were all in the same sentence. That's because we've made tremendous progress over the last 10 years. We are seeing high school graduation rates rise at a rate far greater than any other state. We started 8 years ago with high school graduation rates in the 73 percentile range. Last year we graduated at an 85% clip, surpassing the national average for the first time in our state's history. When you look at our national testing results, our NAEP test, what many call the nation's report card, when you look at 4th grade reading and 4th grade math, and you look at 8th grade reading and 8th grade math, Mississippi's gains over the last 10 years are number one in the nation. We're exceeding every other state, and that's happening because all of us are working hard to make it happen. I am committed as your governor to not allow anything, including COVID-19, to slow that momentum. Right now, Mississippi is the talk of educational circles all around the country. If we continue to see the gains over the next 10 years like we've seen for the last 10 years, we'll be the talk not only around education circles, we'll be the talk of the nation. I'm proud of the efforts of our teachers, of our administrators, of our students, and I'm proud of not only the gains that we have made, but the gains that we will be making in the future. Now is a time for us to understand, however, the seriousness of COVID-19. I will be signing an executive order in just a few minutes, which closes all public schools until April the 17th. That will give us a 4-week period to evaluate further effects of this particular virus. I will tell you, this is not a decision that I take lightly. In fact, in my nearly 17 years of serving the public, it is perhaps the hardest decision I've ever had to make. The reason it's such a hard decision is because I know that it is difficult for Mississippi families when schools are shut down, and I also know that, honestly, if we have our kids in our classrooms, we're more likely to get more learning accomplished. But what I want you to hear me say is this: I made this decision because I believe it's in the best interest of all of our fellow Mississippians. I also want you to know that this is not a time to take a vacation. This is not a time to spend 8 to 10 hours a day outside shooting basketball, although a couple hours will be just fine. This is a time to continue learning. I have talked to education officials around our state, and they're already being innovative in finding ways to ensure that our kids are continuing to learn during this school closure. Everything from online learning to distance learning to delivering supplies to our students around the state for pencils and paper to ensure that they are getting their classwork up. I know our teachers and our administrators will step up in these challenging times. I also want you to know that during this time, I will also relax end-of-year testing requirements as well as accountability measures. I will give maximum flexibility to the Mississippi State Board of Education to ensure that they can waive any rules or regulations that they have in place that make it harder for our kids to learn over the next several days and weeks and months. In addition to that, I want you to know that school districts will get paid their formula money in a timely manner to ensure that there is no disruption of cash flow for our districts. And maybe even more importantly, I want to assure you that regardless of the decisions that are made at the local level to ensure that students are learning, our teachers will get paid their annual salary on time as we expect. This is not a time for us to panic. This is a time for us to recognize that we are in unprecedented, uncharted waters. But we will get through it. We will get through it because we are Mississippians. We will get through it because we are resilient. We will get through it because we are all dedicated and committed to get through it. In our classrooms over the next several months, I believe that we need learning opportunities. I believe that we need more teaching, more learning, and less testing. That is the reason that I have made the decisions that I have outlined here this morning, and I hope you will understand that I take this decision very, very seriously. In addition to that, I also want to just give you a couple of other things to keep in mind. As we go forward in the weeks ahead, one of the biggest challenges that we have as a state, which by the way is not unlike what they're seeing in other states around the United States and what's going on in northern Italy, for instance. One of the biggest challenges we have is a run on our hospitals. If you do not need to get medical help, seriously need to get medical help, please stay away from our hospitals. Please understand that we have to all make sacrifices for the betterment and for the good of our fellow Mississippians. I also want you to know that you should continue to pay attention to our updates. I believe in times of uncertainty, the most important thing I can do is provide information to you, the citizens of Mississippi. I believe that over the coming days and weeks, I plan to do exactly that. We will have more Q&A sessions on Facebook Live, just like we did a couple of days ago. And just stay tuned to our social media outlets, and we will try to announce those in such a time where you can take advantage of those. Again, we are in uncertain, uncharted waters. I don't know what the future holds, but I do know who holds the future. Thank you, God bless, and may God bless Mississippi.